What's up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho. Thank you so much for watching. And guys, today we are talking about the Atlanta Falcons draft. I'm going to be talking in depth on their first 3 rounds and the guys that they got. Also going to mention, any of the draft day moves that they made, any, how they attacked the draft, their draft value, all of those things. Going to dive deep into everything draft and everything draft economics for the Atlanta Falcons. But first, let's just look at their draft as a whole, kind of get a sense of what their plan was coming in. Obviously, they take a Kyle Pitts at 4 overall. I think that was just one of those things where they didn't feel like there was any other move other than a Kyle Pitts there. I think they felt that was the best player on the board, best player in this draft that wasn't a quarterback, and they had to make that move. I don't blame them a bit for doing it. I don't think anybody would. But other than that, you look at a team that really all they did was go defense and offensive line, right? And for the most part, you look at the majority of the picks they made, defensive back. They got 2 cornerbacks and a safety pretty early. They were able to get a Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan, offensive tackle, who I actually thought had like an outside chance of going in the first round, and was pretty surprised he fell to the third altogether. They got the wide receiver late. I'm not going to really worry about that. But overall, I think they went in this draft doing what I think everyone thought they should do, go defense. And to be totally honest with you, I think if there was a player that wasn't as good as a Kyle Pitts, but a defensive player that maybe was at least close to deserving to be the first non-quarterback off the board, they might have gone that route, but there wasn't. There was not a player that was anywhere close to being worth the 4th pick in the draft. Let's move on to the players that were drafted in the first 3 rounds. We're going to talk about Kyle Pitts really quick. I'll throw up the graphic for you. Yeah, listen, you see not an elite blocker as the only con that I had, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was reaching because there's really, this is one of the most impressive, this is easily the most impressive tight end prospect I've ever seen. One of the most impressive prospects I've ever seen, just as far as how does a 6'6", 246 pound man move the way he moves? I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. It's ridiculous. But hey, he does, and he is what he is. But let's move on to their 2nd round pick. And before we get into the player, I do want to talk about the trade they made in the 2nd round. Moving back 5 spots with the Broncos. Broncos move up. They want to grab a Javonte Williams in front of the Dolphins, which was a good move by them. They were able to move back 5 spots, get the safety that I think they probably wanted there too, which I'm not gonna talk about him just yet. I first want to talk about the trade back to earn an extra 4th round pick for going back 5 spots and getting a center who I do think is going to compete for the starting job year one. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know a whole lot about this center out of Stanford. Not a guy that I watched pre-draft or anything like that, but Stanford is known for putting out some pretty good lineman prospects. Obviously, Walker Little this year in the 2nd round, and just in general, I do think the center was a position that Atlanta fans were certainly kind of talking about as could be a position that they wanted to upgrade. So that makes a whole lot of sense to me. To be totally honest with you, other than your guard Lindstrom and the tackle Jake Matthews, I think there's room for improvement on that offensive line as a whole. So I think that could be a big help, and he could be a starter. You could move back 5 spots and got a starter on that offensive line. That's just a really good move to me overall. Yeah, he threw in a 6th round pick. Who cares? And then let's move on to a Richie Grant. I'm a big fan of Richie Grant. This is a dude who is a hitter, has good length, good size. He's a middle fielder, right? He's not going to be your in the box safety, I don't think. I think he has the ability to be in the box if he needs to be, but overall, I think this can be like your single high safety and things like that. Whatever they want to do on the back end, obviously with a new regime, I'm not exactly sure what that defense is going to look like schematically, but obviously this is a player that's going to fit in on that back end. Violent hitter, definitely has the propensity to miss some tackles here and there, but man, he wants to tear your head off. Every once in a while there's some coverage whiffs. Other than that, man, I just don't have any issue with this pick. I think he's one of the best safeties in this class. I was not a guy who's big on Moreg, to be totally honest with you. So Richie Grant was among the top safety for me. Like he was. I didn't do a ranking for safeties, but he was like in that conversation for me as one of the top safeties. You get him 40 overall in the 2nd round, man. I think that was a big move on top of getting that center that I already mentioned. Love that. And then you finish off the 3rd round, getting an offensive lineman out of Michigan. That's just a high high upside type of guy. Limited starts, limited snaps overall. I think he has just over 1,000 snaps as an offensive lineman in college, which is crazy. But man, Michigan has put out a lot of good offensive linemen. And listen, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't pretend to study offensive linemen super deep. I watch some of the bigger names, get kind of a good feel for what I'm looking at. Jalen Mayfield was a guy that I thought had an outside chance of going that first round, mainly based on things that I had heard. All right, and he wasn't one of the guys that I watched. He was one of the last offensive linemen that I watched, and I love the potential. He's a guy that I'm very excited for. Very surprised he fell as far as he did. I definitely thought he was going to go second round. Second round was where I had him going, but I definitely I had a list of 50 plus guys that I thought maybe just maybe they go in the in that first round range, right? Back in that first round, you never know. First round gets crazy sometimes. So he was one of those guys that I certainly had that grade on, and certainly thought was a possibility. Didn't happen. Didn't get anywhere close to happening, obviously, going to the third round. But man, the upside and the potential for this dude, I think it's elite. I really do. I think this is a guy you got in the third round who could end up being the best offensive lineman come 3-4 years ago. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen at all. I think he has all the tools and the traits to be that one day. So that's super exciting to me. And for a team that I think could really use some help opposite of a Jake Matthews, man, hey, he's going in. He's going to get to be a right tackle, so he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to protect the blind side or anything. I think he starts. I really do. I maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm misevaluating there. You never know. Third round offensive linemen miss all the time, so don't quote me on it. But I have a good feeling there. I really do. Overall, looking at this draft, what were my best and worst move? Right. Okay. So my best move, I do think, was trading back for the corner, for the safety in Grant, and then also being able to get a 4th round pick, which ended up being a center there. I think that was a really good move. I think that was a good decision by Atlanta to move back, understanding draft value, understanding, okay, if they were looking safety, it ends up being 2 safeties go in that next 5 picks. The Dolphins to take a safety in a Holland out of Oregon, and then obviously the Falcons go safety as well. So understanding, hey, they had a couple guys that they really liked right there. Obviously, I don't know what the thought process was in the building, but overall, I look at it like, okay, they had to feel good about what was there and what they were wanting. Move back, grab a safety, grab a center. Love that, right? Love that. My worst move, yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised they didn't address the running back. I really thought they would. I thought a Ramondre Stevenson in the 4th was going to be the move. Ramondre Stevenson ends up going to the Patriots about 10 picks later. Y'all took a Darren Hall, cornerback out of San Diego State in the 4th, which I totally understand. I think Atlanta knew that they were going to go into this draft focusing on defense, especially day 3, getting a lot of lottery tickets on that defense, and especially the backfield specifically. I call them lottery tickets. These guys in day 3. Listen, we know how the draft realistically goes. Most of these guys don't end up being starters. Most of these guys go out of the NFL over 2-3 years. But you never know. Some of these guys are going to hit, and hopefully Atlanta got a hit here somewhere in that day 3 range, right? So that was just. I'm not going to say it it's not. I didn't really hate any of the moves y'all made, to be totally honest. But I was surprised. I'll put it that way. I was certainly surprised, and that's going to be the worst move that I give y'all. And then let's look at the grades, and I do the grades a little bit differently. I think it's unfair just to give one, A through F grade. So I'm going to give 3 A through F grades and kind of break it up in a little different way. First of all, we have players, A+. Man, first of all, you get a Kyle Pitts, it's already going to be an A. Everything after that, whatever. And you get a little lucky because you have that draft value for 4th overall, makes a Kyle Pitts kind of an easy target, right? So yeah, A+ there. I love Richie Grant. I loved him coming out. I really like Jalen Mayfield. I love a lot of the guys that you got in those first 3 rounds. Now get into draft value. Draft value is a B-, and you guys got to hear me out with this, all right? I already praised the Kyle Pitts pick. I praised all the players y'all got pretty much. I'm a fan of, right? But draft value, okay? And I'm a draft value nerd. I'm an NFL draft nerd. So I get into this stuff and I'm kind of getting into the weeds here. So hear me out and don't hear what I'm not saying, all right? I love Kyle Pitts, the player, but taking a tight end top 5 never happens for a reason. A tight end in general, it's a luxury pick. It's almost taboo, in my opinion, to take a tight end in the first round unless it's a super talent. It's very similar to a running back in the first round. It's very similar to a safety in the first round. Okay, y'all got a tight end in round 1 and you got a safety in round 2. Just draft value alone. That's all we're talking about here. We're talking about draft value for the picks you got. Kyle Pitts is a generational talent, and you had to take him at 4. I don't blame you a bit. I'm a big fan of Richie Grant, and I think he has a chance to be the best best safety in this class. So don't blame me a bit going there. But B- there just for draft value, right? And I'm breaking it down in 3 ways for a reason, because I like to get into the weeds here and I like to kind of dive into exactly what you guys are doing, right? And hey, first year organization making some moves. I think they made some really safe draft picks. I think they made some really safe picks, getting guys that are gonna be productive and are gonna make you look really good in a couple years, and they're gonna make your football team a lot better. And then needs as a B- as well. And really, I mentioned it with the running back. I thought you guys would target a running back on day 3 somewhere. This was kind of a weaker running back class, so I understand they just didn't see the value there at running back. I get that. It's not a big deal to me at all. But just when you look at your premium picks, those first 3 rounds, those are where your premium picks are. To go defense only once, it was a little bit of surprise more than anything. Not upset. Obviously, I think Kyle Pitts wasn't a surprise at all. But to not have gone defense there, I was a little bit surprised. And obviously, I'm not going to count you off at all for not being able to trade down. I think if Atlanta was able to trade down, yeah, they probably do take one of the top corners or a Michael Parsons or something like that and get one of the best defensive players in this class. But hey, if the draft value isn't there, you don't just trade down just to trade down. No, you only do it if you can get legitimate value. And if you couldn't get something similar to what the Dolphins got to go from 3 to 12, which was 2 firsts and a third, yeah, you don't do it. And if that trade wasn't on the table, then you got to sit and pick. I think they made the right call there. So overall, guys, I'm a big fan of this draft. I think they made a lot of right moves. I think this organization is in the right direction. I'm a big fan of Arthur Smith. I'm a Tennessee boy, so I've been watching Titans offense firsthand. I think Arthur Smith left at the perfect time, because I think Tennessee is going to have a little bit of a downward trend here. Don't tell Tennessee fans I said that. But hey, I'm super, super excited to see what happens with Atlanta. I think there's really no way that we're going to look back 3 or 4 years from now and say, oh, this was a bad draft. Like I feel like Kyle Pitts is just the slam dunk of slam dunks. I feel like a Richie Grant, I'm just going to be so surprised if he's not playing. I really am. He's just one of those guys. I don't see the miss there. I really don't. And Jalen Mayfield, yeah, that's a risky pick, and he could certainly fail. Maybe I have a good feeling about him more than anything else, but he certainly could. He's one of those boom bust type of guys. But overall, man, I don't think you're going to be looking back 3-4 years from now and not be pretty happy overall with the guys you brought in and the direction that your team went first year with this new organization. But all right, guys, that is all I have on the Atlanta Falcons. Please let me know in the comments below. If you're a fan, let me know. I want to hear what the fan base is thinking. Obviously, I'm doing this for all 32 teams. I'm not going to really get to be inside the minds of these fans. So this is a really cool opportunity for me to see where you guys are at. What are you thinking for your team? I would love to see it. You leave a good enough comment, I will pin it and make sure everybody who clicks on this video sees it as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please check back for more videos soon. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. Like the video if you enjoy it. All those things. Press all the buttons. You know what to do, guys. Peace out.